But today we're going to go through yellow tip pattern. It's also the first pattern in Taekwondo. You've already done the first four directional move, Sajijarugi, which isn't a pattern, it's just a section of moves to get you started at white belt level. Right? As you've seen for that four directional move, it was like a cross. You were going to each wall from the shape of a cross. Chon Ji also is the shape of a cross, only you move differently. So you will move to the side, go two moves to this wall, and then you go all the way around to the opposite wall and do two moves. And after every four moves, you will go 90 degrees. So you'll go 90 degrees and you'll do four moves again. Going two to this wall and do the two to this wall. Then when you get to here, you will do 90 degrees again and do four moves again. So after each four moves, you go 90 degrees until you get facing forward. Then you will finish off with punch, punch, punch. Okay, we'll go through that slowly. Also, it starts with parallel ready stance, which you're very familiar with. There's three techniques, two from walking stance, which we have is the down block, and we also have the punch, the lunge punch. Okay, now L stance is a new technique, G, but we've gone through it in your curriculum. L stance is your feet are like an L, both feet should be turned in 15 degrees, so just slightly turned in. 70% of the weight in the back leg, 30 on the front. And you're going to do an inner forearm block or a middle block. Your shoulders are half sideways. So your shoulders are half sideways in this block. They're not pulled back, half sideways. Okay, so 15 degrees in, 70% in the back. So when a stance is 50-50 weight, whatever leg is forward determines what stance it is. So if my left leg is forward, it's a left leg forward walking stance. But when the leg has more weight on it, like an L stance, because 70% is on my back leg, that determines the weight of the stance. So if my right leg is back, in this case, it's a right leg L stance. Even though my left leg is forward, it's called a right leg. So if I'm doing a technique off the front hand, it's a reverse. Okay, so it'll be a reverse inner forearm block. Okay, there's 19 moves in this pattern, and also there's 19 stances. So as you go up along the belts, you will find out it is the only pattern in Taekwondo. There's 24 patterns in Taekwondo, but some people for second degree practice two different patterns. So there's actually 25. Some practice Kodang and some practice Juj, right? But most Taekwondo ITF will do Juj, and some of the other Taekwondos will do Kodang. So just remember that. In all the patterns, Chon Ji is the only pattern that has the same amount of moves as it has stances. And what I mean by a move is counted as a kick, a strike, or a block, no matter what block. It's not counted, a stance is not counted as a move. So therefore, by having the same amount as moves, a stance, that means every time you do a step, you'll do a move, just one move. Okay, so that is the only pattern, as I say, in Taekwondo. Also, there's 15 walking stances. There's only 4 L stances. So up to third degree black belt, there's only one pattern that has more walking stances in it. There's a few patterns that has the same amount, but there's only one pattern that has more than 15 walking stances. So that's why it's very important to practice a good walking stance from the beginning. Okay, so it's in this pattern as much as every pattern except one up as far as third degree black belt. Right, so we're going to make a start from there. So it's parallel ready stance. So we know this Feet facing forward, one shoulder width, hands here. Same stance as we did in forward directional punch. Now in forward directional punch, we started with a punch forward. This time we're going to go to our left with a down block. So we're going to settle our weight on our right leg. You're not going to bring the leg too much in, we're just going to bring the leg up and settle the weight. And the hand will just rise up slightly into a relaxed position. Down block from here. Keep the down block parallel with the knee and over the knee. Not too close, not here. So you know down block already. Again, as we're stepping from here, the hands will slightly come away from the body. And this hand will just rise up into a relaxed position. So from here, it will come away. Don't just punch straight from here as you walk. Okay? You must bring the hands away and come past the leg with your foot. So the hand is away. From here then the hand is to come back and punch fast. So I'm going to show you that at full speed. If you keep your hand here and just do it as a punch, you're only going to punch the same as you step. Okay? Because the punch, the leg and the reaction hand all have to finish at the same time. All at the same time. But if you take the hand away and go past the leg, keeping a relaxed position, now from here your leg has only got to travel this amount, but you have to bring your hand back and punch. That means the punch has to travel faster and you're going to generate more power. Okay, so we're going to start from there. Right, we've covered some of this in white belt curriculum anyway. So remember, we're going to go to our left, do 4 moves across. We're going to do 2 moves, then turn to the opposite wall that you're facing and do the same 2 moves and then turn 90 degrees to your left. So from here, step in, load the weight. From here as well, relax the hands. Here. Now we've done our 4 moves from here, so we're going to go 90 degrees to the left and we're going to do the same 4 moves facing this way. So that's half the pattern. The next half, when we step in this time, we're going to go into L stance. So when we load the weight into this leg, we're going to drop our weight down and the leg is just going to go into the L. It's going to go forward, but your weight's going to go down into the middle block in L stance. Make sure half sideways in the shoulders. So again, because we turn left, we're going to do 4 moves again, going to this wall and then the opposite wall. We go back into our walking stance. Relax. Then we go to our left. Then punch. So when we get to here, we're going to do 1 more punch forward. Take the hand away. 1 backwards. 1 backwards. Chon Ji. And then left leg returns to Chon Ji. Right, so remember at the end of the pattern, making sure that you breathe and then you say Chon Ji. So every technique, as we've shown you from beginning, from this for white belt, as the legs hit the floor, the chamber comes back and the punch is out. You're dropping your body mass into it, twisting at the end and doing the breath all at the same time. All these things have to happen at the same time. Right, we've gone through it in the 4 directional punch as well, but the same in this pattern. When we're doing our first move from here, the step, the reaction, the block, the breath, all has to happen at the same time. So you can't step like this, block and punch. It all has to happen same time. Same from here, same time. Okay? So on your down block, as we know, we've done this in white belt, you're half sideways. The same as when you're in your L stance with your middle block, you're half sideways. All techniques from L stance are half sideways. All techniques. Okay? On your punches, you're square. So your shoulders are square. So in Taekwondo, We'll go through this maybe on more detail in another video. You have front, which is the center line. You have side front, which is halfway, roughly between your chest, you're halfway on your chest. That's side front technique. Front, side front, and you have side technique. So some of them are done for walker stance. When you do your back fist, it's a side technique. So you have front, front, and side. Okay? And some of those in other patterns, they'll be side to the back, but still a side technique. So make sure you know them. So your punches are in the center line, punching down the center line, shoulders are square on that. Right, let's go through that pattern straight through. All techniques in this pattern are normal motion. That means it's just a pause in between each technique. Chon Ji. Now some people, see the way I key up at the end? Some competitions you're not allowed key up on the end. You just Chon Ji. You can breathe and say Chon Ji. Okay, the reason for that is some people will key up a lot louder than others and they deem it unfair just to score extra points. So at the end of the pattern, when they do the last move, they might go, yes, sir! You know, try and get extra points. So they've taken that out of it. Some tournaments you will be allowed, but others you won't. Okay, Chon Ji, as it says, the first pattern, 19 movements. Right, Chon Ji consists of two parts, as you see in there, the down block and the punch, and then the L stance, the middle block, the L stance and the punch. Right, so the meaning of the pattern is Chon Ji literally means heaven and earth. Right, so one signifies the heaven, the other the earth. It is in the Orient, interprets the creation of the world or the beginning of human history. Therefore, it's the initial pattern played by the beginner. So the first pattern played by the beginner. There are two similar parts to this pattern. One signifies the heaven, the other the earth. Okay, so there's a few useful tips in it. So if you go away from this video, remember that walking stance has as many walking stances. There's only one pattern all the way to third degree patterns with more walking stance. So walking stance is very, very important to get it right from the beginning. Right? It's a cross form. It's like a cross. So a cross going forward and back. There's 19 movements. It's the only pattern with the same amount of movements as it is stances. So as you see, what we've done there is every time we've done a stance, we've done one move. If I do two moves from the same stance, the stances won't add up to the same amount of movements in the pattern. So there is some patterns there that have 24 moves in the pattern. Or sorry, 60 moves in the pattern. But it's only about 40 stances in it. So you only step 40 times. Not the 62. There's one pattern there, it's the longest pattern with 72 moves in it. And it doesn't have 72 stances. Each pattern as well, you must try and get back to the same spot you start on. So that goes for every pattern. If you start on this square here, so when I'm doing my Chon Ji, when I do my last move from here, my last thing, make sure the left leg returns in Chon Ji, I must come back to the same spot. Okay, you will lose marks and tournaments for not returning to the same spot. That's it. Just some of those techniques in you can practice the spot techniques where you can go and just come up the other side. Right? You can also do those techniques as you go round in a circle, which is very handy because it's that way in the pattern. So I could do that same technique from here then I could load the weight. Now, even though I'm coming from here, from here to go to this block, from the punch of this block, I can still just practice it from here. And then load the weight and go around in a circle, and then go around with the other hand. Same for the down blocks. We can practice from here, stepping in, load the weight here, and practice the same for the down blocks as we go around, or do them as a spot technique. A spot technique is done when you come forward. Here. Don't stop the hand in chamber. Relax, go through and straight down. Twisting both hands. Twisting. So the back of the hands are like facing, and they both twist back to your belt. Okay, that's the same in the middle block. Both hands are facing down, and this hand is twisting, and this hand is twisting back, and they do most of the twist at the end and lock. So locks at the end. Okay, hope you that's of some benefit for you. We will get up, or we have the fighting techniques up, so we'll get up the rest of the techniques to white belt very soon. Right, feet together, trip, Kenya.